Welcome to the podcast, folks. Today we are diving into a fascinating chapter of history, a philosophy so radical it threatened empire itself. Epicurus and his ideas really turned the world upside down, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, it's wild. Epicurus had this whole notion that fear of death, gods, punishment, was the root of suffering. And, that's pretty revolutionary when you think about it.
Right, exactly. Epicurus started his school called the Garden around 306 BCE near Athens. Unlike the traditional academies, he welcomed everyone, women, slaves, anyone, really.
That openness was, pretty radical at the time. It really broke the mold of the elite Greek circles.
Yeah, and it's like he was saying, hey, relax about these mythical punishments. The gods, if they existed, were indifferent. They weren't looming over your every mistake.
Right. He completely dismantles the whole idea of divine retribution. No eternal hell or rewards. Just, a focus on living a good, peaceful life.
Exactly. His core idea, fear is unnecessary. No afterlife drama, no divine oversight, nothing. When we die, it's nothing, just the end, returning to nothingness.
Yeah, and that in turn undermined the power structures of the time. Priests, temples, emperors, they relied on fear to maintain order.
Totally. And that's what made Epicurus such a threat. His writings, over 300 scrolls at one point, offered a kind of freedom from fear. Sadly, most of those scrolls were lost, not because they weren't popular, but because later empires intentionally erased them.
Right. Historical records show that religious powers systematically de-emphasized his work. It's like they understood that without fear, their control was undermined.
Yeah, and then you have Lucretius. Around 50 BCE, he wrote De Rerum Natura, on the nature of things, which laid out the very foundations of Epicurean physics. Imagine a world made of atoms and the void. No divine orchestration, just natural, random processes.
Exactly. It's explosive. Lucretius's work makes it clear. Everything, including the soul, is physical and perishable. No miracles, no divine interventions, just nature and chance.
Right. And that was dangerous enough to reach the top echelons of Roman society. Lucretius dedicated his work to a Roman aristocrat with ties to Caesar. That kind of influence is huge, wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. That's significant. It shows that even the elite were willing to entertain these ideas, which really threatened the established religious order.
True. But the game really changed with Augustus. When Augustus became Rome's first emperor after the Battle of Actium in 31 BCE, he ushered in a state-sponsored religion. Epicurus's ideas just didn't fit the mold anymore.
Well said. Augustus used religion as a tool, restoring temples and reviving priesthoods to, solidify his grip on power. Epicureanism was seen as heresy, a direct challenge to that narrative.
Yes, it was labeled a threat, banned, and discredited over centuries. Epicurus became synonymous with indulgence, a glutton, a hedonist, totally missing the depth of his actual ideals.
I get that. But isn't there a risk of oversimplifying his philosophy by equating it with just hedonism? He actually promoted living simply, seeking clarity, appreciating friendship over power.
Absolutely, I agree. But the authorities at the time took the easy route, twisted into a moral failing. They rebranded his message to serve their narratives.
Right, so, essentially, a deeply ethical philosophy became the scapegoat for dissent against religious control. That's, pretty clever from a propagandist point of view, though morally dubious.
Absolutely. And then, fast forward to the Renaissance. In 1417, this incredible discovery happened. Poggio Bracciolini uncovered a single manuscript of On the Nature of Things in a German monastery.
Yeah, that moment reignited the potential of Epicurus's work. It fueled the scientific revolution and even the Enlightenment. Imagine history if that manuscript had stayed hidden.
It's wild, really. like the ultimate comeback story. Without Epicurean thought-stirring ideas about nature, reason, and science, we might not have had pioneers like Galileo or
Yeah.
Darwin.
And it's fascinating that even in modern times, his ideas are resurfacing. You've got classrooms, TikTok, YouTube, even Thomas Jefferson called himself an Epicurean.
Exactly. Jefferson saw Epicurean philosophy as the essence of rational moral philosophy from Greece and Rome. It's as if, even centuries later, the idea of living without fear still resonates.
Right. In a world that often seems so driven by anxiety and control, Epicurus's message of simple living, clear thinking, and joy over fear is incredibly appealing.
Yeah, and one of the key takeaways was to live simply and embrace what brings true pleasure without succumbing to fear of divine judgment. It's like he was advocating for a kind of inner freedom.
Absolutely. Reminds me a bit of modern minimalist lifestyles, focusing on what truly matters rather than being trapped by societal expectations or fear.
Exactly. It's like if you strip down all the ornate rituals imposed by empires, you get to a clean slate of freedom and personal peace. No intricate, overbearing controls from above.
Yet I have to wonder, doesn't disregarding the role of religion entirely risk losing some of the community and shared values many find in those beliefs?
That's a fair point. While Epicurus dismissed the gods as indifferent, he wasn't necessarily anti-community. His philosophy emphasized friendship and social bonds, which are crucial for a fulfilling life.
Yeah, it's more about rejecting the fear of the supernatural, rather than completely discarding the social aspects of those traditions. A nuanced stance, really.
Right, exactly. Epicurus's world is one where, intellectual freedom and the pursuit of a balanced life trump blind obedience, which is pretty relevant even now.
Absolutely relevant, especially in times where, government control and manipulative narratives still find a foothold in our societies.
Exactly, and it's interesting how his ideas spread far and wide, from the Athenian streets to the corridors of Roman power, and eventually being subverted by those very powers for control.
It's a testament to the enduring power of ideas. Even if civilizations try to bury them, they have a way of resurfacing when people need answers.
Right on. Epicurus's vision, the idea of liberating ourselves from the shackles of fear, is coming back into the conversation. And with modern media, TikTok, YouTube, all sorts of channels, it's reaching a whole new generation.
Yeah, it's almost poetic how ideas considered heretical centuries ago are now celebrated as keys to personal empowerment and scientific inquiry.
Definitely. And it's like, it's a call to reclaim our intellectual independence. When you stop living in fear of what might happen after death or divine judgment, you're free to really focus on life.
I love that perspective. It's not just about rejecting fear, but also about embracing a life that values reason, simple joys, and genuine human connection.
Exactly, and that's the legacy of Epicurus. It's a philosophy that, while once seen as dangerous, now offers a refreshing alternative to oppressive narratives. The emphasis on living fully despite, well, life's inevitable uncertainties.
And it's a reminder that sometimes the most controversial ideas are the ones with the potential to lead to true liberation. A little bit of forbidden knowledge, if you will.
Absolutely. Epicurus challenged the status quo, and despite efforts to bury his work, his ideas persist. It's amazing how even today, in our age of rapid information, these ancient insights inspire so many.
For sure. And it makes you wonder how many other powerful ideas have been lost or are waiting to be rediscovered hidden in history's vaults.
Indeed, it's a thrilling prospect, like digging through the sands of time to find treasures of human thought that can change our modern mindset.
Yeah. Well, this discussion really shows that sometimes the most powerful revolutions start with a single idea, even if it challenges everything society holds dear.
Exactly right. Epicurus reminds us, live simply, think clearly, choose joy over fear. That timeless message, now more than ever, speaks to the heart of our modern struggles.
And on that note, It sounds like his forbidden philosophy is not only alive, but thriving, inspiring us to question authority and embrace a life free from unnecessary fears.
Couldn't have said it better. Thanks for exploring these epic ideas with me today. Here's to reclaiming our intellectual freedom, one thought at a time.
Absolutely. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep living without fear.